Hello, all. I hope everyone is having a good Saturday. It's same old knuckleheadness. So it's late. It's quarter to seven. I'm granted. Hey, William, good to see you. Let's hit the ticker. I hope your weekend is going well, William. Uh, so I'm a little out of sorts, right? Because I just cooked dinner, and so it's in the kitchen. I'm like, oh, look at me, I'm cooking. Woo! All right. But then these guys who does the garden, I guess they're gardeners, the gardeners who do the gardening in this place are on a riding lawnmower with clippers out in the other room at like this should have been done between like 10 and like 4, let's say, or even early. But sometimes they get here at like 7 in the morning and they start with this nonsense. And then sometimes they're out here at like dusk. I'm like, who? And then I was thinking all kind of excuses because I'm trying not to be an asshole. I'm like, maybe they got backlogged with their work, right? Because that happens. And I was like, well, we got to get these lawns cut by 9 tonight. I don't know. It's just I don't that noise. It's super not what you expect to hear at like 7 at night when you're trying to just kind of be easy. And then it kicks up all the cut grass, and the whole place smells like cut grass. Then you got to cut all the windows. So that's what I ran to the back room of the house, close all the windows. Then the front of the place is still open because they haven't come creeping around here with their riding lawnmowers. Uh, I don't even know sometimes what is going on. I'm sure it can't just be me. Sorry. Welcome to the madness, people. So today's your weekend. Like I said, I hope everyone is doing uh, weekend stuff, right? Good for your soul kind of stuff. Let me get a window open here. Oh, crap. So today it was freezing. It was like I woke up, it was like 61 degrees. I'm like, oh my God, that's almost 50 degrees. 4 days after the vernal equinox, right? What is it? So, yeah, so fall is here on the 21st of September, and instant fall. Oh, yeah. So I got this issue. So I laid off guitar playing. It must have been I play like a little every day, but not a lot. Uh, and then my fingers started peeling. The blisters started coming off, and now my fingertips are soft again, and they hurt when I push on the strings. And I think it's because I have a dishwasher, but I do the dishes by hand because one, I'm not doing a trillion miles of dishes. I'm just, it takes me 10 minutes to do the dishes versus running the machine for like 40 minutes with all this gallons of water. Um, so I was just doing the dishes, and then I was here trying to get my chord progressions right, and now my fingers hurt. And I'm also noticing that some of them that were calloused almost aren't even calloused anymore. I'm very distressed by this. I am very distressed by this. Excuse me. Uh, I also have sage burning in the other room. I should just bring it in here, right? At least I can see the flame, not the flame, but like the smoldering of it before. Because yesterday I was like, what is that smell? I smelled something burning. Had to go in the other room because I had an instant burning, and it had went down to the stick. Uh, so I'm sorry. There seems to be a couple of things going on in the parking lot that I'm sort of half looking at. So yeah, I don't know. Is that what that's called? Growing old? So when you're like, oh, so yeah, I'm I'm in get off my lawn territory now with some of this stuff. Uh, But oh, excuse me. I'm not tired, although I did just like eat. And that I think that might be some of it. I'm gonna have to cut on the light just to keep my bearings. Where's my watch? Here it is. Where's my watch? My phone. Okay, 6:48. What time is sunset?
Sunset will be at 6:56 p.m. today.
Wow, sunset's in 12 minutes. Man, time waits for no man. Here it is. Whew. All right. I was actually gonna just guitar it up today all day. Um, but then like I told you, my calluses fell off and I was like, Wah. So we might do news. Why the CDC and the FDA only approve booster shots for some Americans. It's been on the news for a whole week. I think everybody knows 16 hours ago. Biden says Democrats are at a stalemate. You're at war with yourselves. I mean, not only are you at war with the other party, you're at war within the party itself, right? I think there are at least three fractions as I see it, right? There's liberals who are just the Democrats, right? They used to be Democrats and they became liberals. Now people are all progressives. So now it's the liberals, supposed to be liberal, versus the progressives. I'm kind of like, what? Uh, they both mean the same thing. It's like the Freedom Party versus the Independence Party, right? Which both really mean the same shit. Um, Within the party, and you have the House and the Senate and the Congress, and you're gonna fuck it up by everybody not being on the same page, as well as fuck it up by not just running it through now while you have all the power to do so, because you know the Republicans would run it through on you. So you're gonna wait and try to bring the bipartisanism. You know, yeah, no, I don't think so. Um, you need things done and nothing's getting done, but politicians are still getting giant paydays. They had a rainbow of a Red Sox and Yankees game at Fenway Park. Who won? Wow. Dying crops, spiking energy bills, showers once a week. In South America, the climate future has arrived. Yeah, it's not good, man. This whole climate thing, the whole world is going to be completely different in 50 years. I mean, the storms are the least of it. All the rain and all the fires, right? And then after the fires are gone, there won't be any roots to hold the fire, to hold the soil because the trees are all burnt up. And then when rains do come, they'll cause mudslides or lahores, as some people call it, which are just muddy floods, I guess. Like the landslides with the consistency of water. So it's like being buried in like chocolate milk. It's not awesome. Um, People are going to leave those areas and go to other areas where there are already people, causing cities to get more crowded or more condensed or more whatever you want to call it. Or people will likely abandon the cities and try and go someplace else. But I mean, at this point, everybody has to get their shit together on the planet, all the governments, and come up with a plan that makes sense. Or we can just start fighting it out for resources now. Fight it out for resources with other countries as well as with each other here. There's already runs and shortages on stuff at Walmart. Again, people already doing it again. How are we even one country? Red Sox winning 2-1 really in the seventh. Geez, that's deep. Um, I wonder what their records are. U.S. border agents briefly detained 14 Mexican soldiers in El Paso, Texas. Why were they in Texas? All right, this is a story I have to look at. Mexico, Reuters. 14 Mexican soldiers were detained early Saturday morning for several hours by U.S. border agents after they crossed into El Paso, Texas from Mexican Ciudad Juarez. U.S. Customs and Border Protection said, why would they do that? Why would you enter another country like that? And I'm surprised the military didn't meet you instead of the cops. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're federal cops, but your military encroaching on the border. Good Lord, what the fuck is going on around here? Doesn't make any sense what's going on. People are just now walking over the borders in full military gear. For what? Were they going to go to a 7-Eleven? What? Good Lord. Why were they here? Okay. Just after midnight, and it wasn't even broad daylight, it was midnight when you would be creeping across the border. Today, CBP officers working at the bridge of the American International crossing in El Paso noted two Mexican military vehicles crossing the border and entering the U.S. The CBP, Customs Border Patrol, told Reuters in an email statement. The 14 Mexican soldiers said they did not realize that they had entered the United States, and the U.S. border agents secured their weapons and equipment for safety and processing. Said the CBP, adding the Mexican military leadership was contacted and arrived at the port shortly thereafter. Uh, yeah, because we do a lot for Mexico. We're going to do to Mexico too, but we do a lot for Mexico, and our militaries work together because we share a border, right? Just like our military and the Canadian militaries are familiar with each other because we share a border. But the Canadians aren't driving across in uniform with weapons in two trucks. Like this is that movie, Canadian Bacon with John Candy. Remember this movie? But it was maybe a better movie would be yeah, Canadian Bacon. They thought the Canadians had invaded, but the Canadians didn't invade. But there was another one in the '60s about the Russians coming here with a submarine. I think that was called "The Russians Are Coming." Uh, I spent my whole day trying to figure out how to write a song. That's that. Look, man, I got zero talent in these fingers, and I'm doing research on how to write a song. Why am I telling you this so you can laugh in my face? Because sometimes, fuck people laughing at you. Just do the thing. I'm going to be the worst guitarist in the world, but I'm going to be a guitarist. And that's the way. Why are my eyes watering so badly here? Um, whew. Take my socks off. I have to stop saying. Okay, here we go. Then I'm going to trade ums for here we goes. We're going to finish reading this. Excuse me. The Mexican military leadership was contacted and arrived at the port shortly thereafter. How do you not know you crossed into America? There's a bridge, and on every bridge, there's a Mexican flag and an American flag, and it says, "This is you know." How do you not know? And there are two trucks. So if you weren't paying attention and you just followed the first truck into disaster, uh, you're still going to hear about it. And if you're the guy driving, why didn't you notice it? And if you're the guy sitting next to the driver, why didn't you notice it? And if you're the guy in the second truck, why didn't your second guy notice it? This whole thing sounds weird to me. I mean, 13 of the Mexican soldiers were processed without incident, but one soldier was assessed a civil penalty after CBP officers discovered a personal use amount of marijuana in his possession. So they gave him a ticket. They gave him you got weed and taking it across the border ticket. Here's the thing. He's gonna have to come back and ask for that. It might be so small that they just let it fucking go. All 14 soldiers, their equipment, and vehicles were returned to the Mexico before 5 a.m., said the CB. Okay, so this happened at midnight, and they were in custody for 5 hours. Did I hear this right? 14 Mexican soldiers detained early Saturday morning for several hours by U.S. agent after they crossed uh, just after midnight, and they were released at 5. All right, that's 5 hours. 5 hours is several hours. A couple of hours is 2 hours. A couple is 2, right? Uh, several hours is like about 5 to 7, right? A couple is 2. A few hours is about 3 or 4. I would say several hours is 5 to 7. It's like guesstimating. It's sort of a shorthand of guesstimations that we all sort of agree on. Otherwise, it's not guess. Well, everybody can guesstimate. The Mexico defense minister did not immediately respond to requests for comment. Due to the incident, the border crossing was closed for about 2 hours. A witness to the event said the CBP agents yelled at the soldiers to put their hands up and drop their weapons immediately, said the witness who asked not to be named. The CPB agents searched the vehicle and then escorted away the soldiers, which appeared to be handcuffed, according to witnesses in photos of the. Yeah, that makes sense. Because if you would have treated them nice and not taking their weapon, it was like, oh, they just can't. Your boss would have been like, this could have been a fucking ghost op. You're supposed, yeah, you're supposed. This is not, yeah, you're supposed to pull them out. And they're a foreign army on America. Yeah, you're supposed to pull them out at gunpoint. I wouldn't say strip them down, but take all their shit, secure all their stuff, and then you can be nice after you have all their weapons and them in handcuffs, in a controllable location, right? Not on the side of the road, right? Because other people may come for you, know. But you get them back to your base, your command, your precinct, your sheriff department, your holding cell, whatever. And then you go, hey, this is the weirdest shit that happened to me in my police career with the border patrol, right? Uh, yeah. And then you let the politicians go, hey, Juan, you guys fucked up over there. Oh, wait, Jim, I'm sorry. I'll make it up to you. I'll send you over a case of tequila. Yeah. But don't be so smug about it because I remember y'all fucked up and you had to send me a case of whiskey. And they can laugh about it and let it go because those guys are making like 200 grand a year. You know what I mean? But you on the ground have to pull these guys out, be tactically smart about it, and cross all your T's and dot your I's, which I'm sure they did there, right? Because it's a international border, international incident. Um, Due to the incident, the border was closed. The super yelled and at the soldiers to put their hands up and drop their weapons immediately, and said the witnesses. The CBB searched the vehicle, then escorted away the soldiers who appeared to be handcuffed. Yeah, all right. That is a crazy fucking story. And in the next couple of days, the video of that is going to come out because everything's on video now. Everything except for police shootings, apparently. FBI investigator reported assault of female U.S. service member by Afghan evacuees. Why you bring these fucking? I'm not even going to read that because the fucking title has pissed me off. FBI investigating reported assault of female U.S. service members by Afghan evacuees. You cannot return these people to Afghanistan fast enough. Ugh. George P. Bush playing that same bullshit game. An alarm went off on SpaceX all-tour space flight. The problem was the toilet. Flush twice, people. New York City vaccine mandate for schools temporarily blocked. A hearing is set for Wednesday. I don't understand this society. Nothing works. Everything is solved by lawyers. So nothing fucking works. Everything can't be an argument. Everything cannot be an argument. What do we as Americans stand for? And it's not that Hollywood shit that everybody is running to us here from Europe for. Right? We're gonna have some serious problems. And you, not you, and all these people who love to know who's dating who and what the queen of this and the duchess of that are doing. Those will be the people who are surprised. What climate change? What do you mean climate? What food shortages? When did that happen? Wait, what? Why weren't you paying attention? Why didn't you vote? For this or that, or know what the scenario was, know what the story on the ground is, and make an informed choice. I mean, I'd agree with that choice, but at least it's an informed choice. Man, it makes you crazy. Except for one Drake game. Arizona GOP chair calls for a new audit. See, this just makes her a big person in Arizona. So, but then they will put her in the Senate, and yeah, we spoke about this yesterday. Nothing seems Democrats' free pass on immigration is over. No one got a free pass. When Harry and Meghan met the deputy UN chief in New York, why are they meeting the deputy UN chief of it? Uh, she's an actress. She's not a social anything. She's just an actress, and he's a failed prince. Why is anybody listening? What are they going to do? This reminds me of that Yusef Malika nonsense. Not Yusef. What was her name? Who the Taliban shot in the head. Right. It also reminds me of the Norwegian girl, Greta Thunberg. Right. I mean, they're not solving any problem. They're not elected to shit. They can only write you a book or be interviewed by you. Right. You might as well interview me. I'd love to walk out there and strut across the stage, the world stage, right? But at the end of the day, I'm not elected to shit. Only thing I can do is throw stones, right? And be annoying to politicians like that Greta Thunberg girl is. She's got a lot of snotty shit to say about Donald Trump. But here's the thing. You can only say so much shit about it. How old is she? 12, 13? Right? What should be happening is like, this is serious business. Why are you even coming at me with this shit from this child? And put them on their back foot about it. I'm not gonna have an argument about world politics with this prepubescent young girl. It's ridiculous. Meanwhile, the other girl gets shot in the head and has to flee. I feel bad for that, but again, so yeah. I'm not a fan of these two. Elizabeth Holmes. Hurricane Sam becomes a major hurricane expected to strengthen on the path to the U.S. Southeast. Oh, good Lord. Hurricane season is not over until November. Starts in June, ends in November. Some people are saying it started in May. All right. So we are looking for. Huh. That looks ominous. 2 p.m., 12, every 12 hours. All right. Ugh. At least it's going to spare Haiti because they need a break. But this looks like it's going to swing funny and hit us meaning Virginia. Oh, that's not awesome. We don't want that. Sam becomes the season's fourth major hurricane in Central Atlantic. Ugh, that looks, all that red is just not awesome. Stop that. 140-mile-an-hour winds. That warm ass water, boy. Hurricane storm. Huh. All right. So, where do they expect it to hit? Well, they don't know because it's like a week out. They said the north. No, they said the southeast. And I'm in the mid Atlantic, so there you have it. Southeast. Ugh, that's not awesome. All right. Witnesses say the Taliban hanged a dead body in Afghan city's main square. These people are just fucking savages. They don't want to do this. The shit that they're doing to people, they don't want done to them or any of their families. This is, I mean, yeah. Who's gonna get in bed with them? The Chinese, right? And so are the Iranians. So yeah, they don't want anybody there. That's supposed to be the thing. But now they're running out of food, so they may accept some people. Um, and the only people who are gonna be there are let me get back in here. The only people who are gonna be there are politicians. There won't be any soldiers, right? And they'll be giving money to the state, like like economy wise, but not. They won't be hanging out in bars or eating there or trying to change shit. Just to U.S. Capitol Riot, you disgrace this country in the eyes of the world. Well, that sounds like the judge is a little bit biased. A federal judge erupted at a Capitol Riot's defendant as he pleaded guilty on Friday, chastised him for participating in an attack on our government. You want this guy fucking listening to your case? This is the problem. Judges are just as bad as the cops. But you know, people are people. You never know what people think. At this point, with all this technology, maybe court should be automatic. Everybody gets a hard ass sentence, or everybody gets a mild sentence. Either way. Friday chastened him on participating in the attack on our government and warned him to stay on the straight and narrow in the latest strong reaction from the judiciary to the insurrection. You disgrace this country in the eyes of the world, and my inclination is to lock you up. Reggie B. Walton said, what is the power of a fucking judge? And this is a thing. Oh well. But nobody can undo any of the bad shit. But you can keep the bad shit argued forever. I mean, like I told you, that thing about the guy who owns the Patriots, how that whole thing went down. Yeah, who's disgracing the country? Beginning to think a lot of people. Uh, I found it outrageous. Okay. You disgrace. I said Reggie B. Walton said to defendant Anthony Mariota, who pled guilty to one misdemeanor charge moments before. I found it outrageous that American citizen would do what you did. To see someone try to destroy the Capitol is very troubling. But that's not what they were doing. Walton has been outspoken in his disdain for the event of January 6th and has repeatedly said that the riot will undermine his ability to teach about the greatness of America abroad. Walton is one of the chorus of federal judges who have described the riot as an existential danger to American democracy. That's the existential danger to American democracy? Oh, okay. All right. The corrupt and broken judicial system isn't, though. All right. Last month, one federal judge called out the riots an effort to subvert democracy, to stop the will of the people and replace it with the will of the mob. He is also one of the growing number of judges who have questioned the Justice Department to try not to send some defendants to jail given the gravity of the attack. Other judges in the same DC district courthouse as well have raised their voices at rioters since arrests started in the days of the attack, including the chief judge of the court, who harshly spoke about the riot and how the National Guard troops and fencing around the Capitol could be seen from the courthouse window. This sounds like what I said about politicians. This sounds like they're angry because it affected them. So now they get to take revenge against you. That's what I think this is. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's emotional about it. All these old Washington judges, lawyers, yeah. I don't. It's this was not an insurrection. They were not going to run the fucking country. This was a riot. For him to think that it was an insurrection and he's a fucking judge, that it's an insurrection and no one's charged with insurrection or treason. You know, it's just. I mean, someone needs to explain to me. I'm not a lawyer, so please explain to me. If you think I'm the worst murderer ever, why am I being charged with jaywalking? It's that simple. You see what I'm saying? So maybe it's in his high horse. You can't defend yourself in these places. They throw out evidence where that could find you not guilty all the time. But this is going to destroy America. This is destroying American democracy. Not 90-year-old fucking senators who yeah, okay, don't even get me started. The problem is not the people. The problem is the apparatus. The apparatus of state has gotten to be a fucking country club, and everybody is slowly becoming angrier and angrier. Yeah. Question: the Justice Department says to try not to send some defendants to jail given the gravity of the attack. The gravity of the attack. Other judges in the same district courthouse will have raised. You can see it from the courthouse window. The judge presiding on more than 600 Capitol riot criminals cases will ultimately either usher the vengeance through jury trials or accept guilty pleas and handle sentencing. The judges have broad authority to sentence as they wish, which is bullshit. Which is bullshit. Sentence under accordance with the law. What's the law? The law says I can do whatever I fucking want to you. Then there's a problem with that law. And these guys really are just there to protect the people above them, the rich and the powerful. So you can instantly be found guilty of whatever somebody wants. If I'm a protester in the street and all the people are like, that dude True is dead on and we love him, I'll guarantee you they'll send my ass to jail under some trumped up bullshittery to protect themselves and then meet the rest of you with the army. All while talking about how America is great. You know, the place is broken. And like I said, all things fail eventually. You know, maybe all this crazy, unfair American judicial system from 500 years ago is about to be fucking tested. Maybe nobody wants it anymore. Maybe the great experiment is about to come to an end. We're going to have to divvy up the country. Who doesn't think people will fight? Because if you don't think people will fight, you don't know America. They're at war with each other forever. And now we just think everybody's willing to fucking do it now. And I think they should fix it, but they won't because, like I said, the unfairness is worth a ton of money to them. People are talking about war profiteering and like of the $700 trillion, whatever it was. Half of that went to defense contractors. It's just disgusting. Broad authority. So far, a handful of defendants who pleaded guilty to misdemeanors and who have no criminal history have gotten years on probation. America was not great on that day, and I'm sure when I go to other jurisdictions say how they can be like America, they'll say, "Why should I want to be like America when you try to tear down your own country?" Or really, what about all the other shit? I mean, it's a self-serving statement. It's the bullshit speech you get from a cop on the side of the road when you want to just go, shut the fuck up and give me my ticket. But you know you can't. I'm telling you, man, the grandstanding of these people. You give a weak man an army and see what you get. I call dibs on Rhode Island. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's going to be like Europe, right? One giant landmass with a whole bunch of countries. I keep saying it. We're all supposed to believe the same thing as Americans because we're not all the same people, right? Different religions, different ethnicities, different cultures, all coming here. So you can't tie us together with religion. You can't tie us together with race. You better tie us together with the cultural sense of what an American is. And quite frankly, Americans can protest and lose it on their government. The founders say so. But the people in charge obviously don't like it because it makes them look bad. Right? And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying fucking revolutions. There'll be one every week because everybody will always say that, no, don't. I mean, and let's be clear, we've been watching cities and societies fall since the first Gulf War, right? It's never something you want to happen on your own soil. Having said that, everybody is protesting. everybody, all groups, and they all hate you, the politicians. You should try and fix this shit instead of sticking the military in people's faces. Um, because that will get old too. And then thank you for your service won't be very much. But yeah, that's my thing. If they're insurgents, why are you charging them with jaywalking or not trespassing, federal trespassing? Try somebody with insurrection, and you haven't. It's a riot. It's a fucking riot. America was not great on that day. Yeah, okay. Walton also expressed concerns that the riot set a dangerous precedent for future elections. What if the next time around the Democrats lose the presidency and that person says, I won despite what the results say, and another Bob tries to tear down the Capitol? Walton asked. I guess that would be all right in the light of what you did, right? No, Marotta responded quietly. That's the worst thing. The stupid fucking speeches you get from people. I mean, obviously he's wrong and he's going to prison, but now you got to just stand there and take a bullshit tongue lashing. I really do think that there should be an app that the federal government use for crimes. That way, no rich people would be getting away with shit. No connected people would be getting away with shit. And poor people wouldn't be run through the ringer. It'd be fair, right? But we know that black people get harsher sentences. Pretty girls get lighter sentences or no sentences. We know that the judge and the prosecutor and the defense attorney sometimes rig the case against people, right? To let them walk as well as send them to jail. I mean, this, we know this. Um, Marotta 53 pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor charge of illegally demonstrating in the Capitol building, which has become a typical plea deal that the Justice Department has offered to nonviolent rioters. The charge carries a potential maximum sentence of 6 months in jail, though they'll likely get less than that and could even receive probation to avoid incarceration. According to the agreement read aloud during the hearing, Mariota admitted to being one of the few rioters who entered the Senate chamber on January 6th. So far, 77 people have pleaded guilty to charges stemming from the Capitol riots. Thank one moment you call them the Capitol riots, which is what I call them. The next moment you call them insurgents. See, I mean, you gotta look. This also goes. I can take shots at the press too. Be consistent with what is going on here, and they never are. They never are. They're happy to write something that will make you war with him, war with her, war with her. You know what I mean? Because if you win, it'll be in the paper. Or if they kill you, it'll be in the paper, and they still get to charge whatever they're charging for the paper or the website or whatever, right? The dog they're having to fight is the story, not good or bad. It's just the fucking story. So far, 77 people have pled guilty to charges stemming from the Capitol riots. The Justice Department has charged more than 615 people in the attack, according to, yeah, 615 people is not a lot because there was a lot of people there. I figured they would have had 2,000 people to deal with. This tells me a couple of things. This tells me, one, that facial recognition thing needs to be better, right? And you also follow people around with their cell phones. How many people cell phones said that they were within the Capitol? I guess you couldn't get that because that would just be a blanket warrant, and we don't do that. All right. Huh. Chuck Grassley, 88, will run for re-election 2020, 2022. Get him out of there. They just want to die in Congress. Their whole position is, fuck you. I want to die in Congress. And on top of that, I don't think you should be able to, no interracial marriage, no horse and buggies. Everybody has to go to church on Sunday. You know, all of a sudden they're talking like it's like 1902 instead of 2021. The same people worry about being tracked by the vaccine shit, but you can see exactly. You know, these are not the smartest people. They they all hit whatever website or social media that they're following, and all came to Washington. It's not like they surreptitiously entered Washington quietly. And most of these people are just, like I said, the the media tells people in the middle of the country one thing, in the south of the country another thing, in the north west of the country another thing. Uh, the super liberal places, New York, LA, generally get the same kind of shift. But like the Fox News people, and it's all the if the government really had a problem, they just, like I said, you want to make America better, you do three things. You don't let people lie during elections, and you don't let people lie during like the campaign commercials and stuff. You don't let them lie during debates. If someone calls you out on it, I mean, accept what you did and then battle back at it. Right? It's supposed to be a game of rhetoric, not a game of lies and obfuscations. Um, but yeah, everybody's always lying to you. Like here, we have this guy running down here. He's like, he got more what was it? It was like he somehow they were essentially saying he passed a bill for like to ease your Medicare, like not Medicare, Medicaid, like your health insurance and stuff. And I was like, really? The state congressman, not congressman, but the state congressman did this thing that the president couldn't do. What was it? If you did it, you would have named it. He's responsible for this bill, right? It would have a name, and he did. It's just Bob grew up here. His mom raised him here. And you're just kind of like, oh, you're lying to me, and I know you're lying to me. Oy, it gets crazy. So I think a lot of this is because people are getting the wrong, not just the wrong information, but differing information from essentially the same people, so they can maintain power. You tell this group this, and then you come in here and tell that group that. And both groups are essentially run by corporations, right? And some of those corporations run newspapers, um, and they'll make you look good to your constituents in this area, and make you look bad to constituents in other areas. Like AOC's press is great in New York State. Her press is something totally different in Texas. There's only like 5 outlets who run newspapers. Why is that the case? It's not like there's a upstart newspaper telling you this stuff. It's the same people. Brian Williams still has a job on television, and he was, I don't want to call him a liar, but he was caught, let's say, embellishing things that didn't happen. Like Hillary Clinton with her, we had to run because we were being shot at. Remember that? You're just kind of like, what? Yeah, it would have been all over the place. A fleet of prison buses being deployed to move Haitian immigrants. And I heard that they're going to let they're going to give the Haitian immigrants court dates, and they're going to have to come back. And I was like, we did this with the fucking Mexicans like 30 years ago, and none of them fuckers came back, right? And then you found out they got a family of like 8 people who are now Americans, and you found them 15 years later, and all of a sudden you're the bad guy for getting rid of them when you shouldn't have had them here in the first place, right? And that those kids should not rightfully, but those kids would likely be born in Mexico. Our system doesn't work, and they don't know how to fix it, and they keep doubling down on the bad system. Yeah, and like whatever the hacks are that they found, like they having babies here, what they call them tempo babies, close the hack. We're not doing that anymore. So we don't care if you're born here. You have to have proper documentations to be here, right? If you're born overseas, it should be on an American military base, or your parents are both American citizens, which makes sense, right? Um, man, it's wiggy. I don't know, but like I said, I can see the problem, but I don't. The solutions are somebody else's problem. That sounds a little, but yeah, I mean, I've got solutions, but everyone would go, "What in the world?" Like I told you all this before, right? I always thought that you should take the Marines from the Navy, right? The Marines are part of the Navy, uh, and put them, excuse me, put them in charge of NASA, And I know that it would instantly make it like a military organization, and there wouldn't be any of this lovely cooperation. That's fine. I don't care. I want them to do something other than tell me, oh, look, we found the nebula 200 million miles away. Oh, look, we have a telescope for more pictures. Oh, look, they only put up satellites and that's it. You need like a military group to go, we're going to Mars in 10 years, or not 10 years, we're going to the moon in 10 years. And then in 25, we're going to Mars. And I think if you had the Marines in charge of NASA, you get there. Now there's Space Force. So I have hope for like Space Force having that same kind of energy of how I don't even know what they're assigned, but how are we going to get to Mars? How are we going to get to the back to the moon? Uh, Maybe they'll have a way to take down all the space junk that they say is completely around the planet. Fine. Ooh, let's get on this Star Trek shit. I'm totally for it. Uh, but at first, it's gonna have to be I won't say a long slow slog, because these are the first years of the organization, and I mean I just saw yesterday they finally got uniforms, but you know where will they be in 10, 15 years with a mandate like go conquer space and have sort of a military kind of mindset to do it. So yeah, I'm super duper psyched for Space Force. I can't wait to get a shirt. I've been waiting for this. And this is a time when Star Trek should be on TV instead of on paywalls and all this bullshit, right? It should be on broadcast television. And then kids right now will watch it. Because the kids who watched it before, I think I said this yesterday, the kids who watched it before grew up wanting to be scientists and join the military. They didn't join the Army or the Navy or the Marine Corps, right? They joined the Air Force because that's close to space, right? Air flying pilots. So now those kids are going to watch the same stuff, be super excited, want to be uh, scientists and explorers and all this, and they're going to go to the Space Force. So all these people going look at it in 10 years with all, especially if we keep up, the love of science and space and stuff. They're going to be able to have their pick of people, which is a good thing, I think, especially if we want to get off the planet, right? Um, and I know I'm being a little too romantic about the Space Force. It's not like they're gonna have all this science endeavor like in the TV show where they could do weather changing and all this other stuff. But man, you would hope that that's the kind of thing that you hope for the Space Force versus hoping quote unquote for war with the the more standard American military situations. And it also implies, oh, we might be on the verge of something. Remember, the Air Force was new and it was part of the Army, and we were on the verge of something. It was part of the Army, I think, from like the 1910s with Wilmer and Orville up until like the 1950s when they made it its own thing. Um, and when that was happening, they were wearing Army insignia until they got their own uniform, right? So I mean, it's going to be that. It might be like another 20 years, 30 years, but they have. I mean, nothing moved as slow as it used to. So instead of 50 years, maybe it'll be 10. It would be. It would have to be directed by Michael Bay and have Baby Yoda to keep the current generation's attention. Um, I don't know about that. I mean, well, yeah, Baby Yoda, but Baby Yoda is from a generation or two before this, right? And they pass the love of it down to their kids. So I think that's a good thing. And maybe those, I mean, you build on the generation before. I don't want to hate too much on the young people. Um, but you build on the generation before. Maybe somebody will have a Baby Yoda hanging from their starship in the Space Force in 20 years as they, you know, break the warp barrier with the warp barrier. That's the way I hope that it goes down. I got to be optimistic about this. Yes, it's the Baby Yoda. You mean baby Spock, baby Data. Uh, but yeah, 1,000 more Haitians are heading to the U.S. Mexican border. How do you get here? I mean, this is so they go to Honduras and then they walk up to the border. If you know that's a hack, then you have to stop the hack. No, instead, you're going to discuss it for another 10 years. The border. I don't even know what to do. These people are so incompetent. Sometimes you have to punch somebody in the face. I hate to say it. Sometimes you have to fucking beat the fuck out of somebody. I hate to say it. And this is one of those times. And I mean this by and I mean this not in the physical sense, but in the idea that you have to be stern and dark and treat people poorly, right? Because they abuse the privilege. So I'm not saying put CPB down there, right? Customs and Border Patrol just to crack people's skulls open, but surely something has to be done. Otherwise, you have a wall, and you don't want a wall. So maybe you should make Mexico do something. Maybe you should stop giving them money. Maybe you should make this about the Mexican government allowing people to walk through their territory and walk into yours, right? Maybe the Mexican government is not your ally anymore. You see what I'm saying? Because right now you look like you're just being taken advantage of. Oh my goodness. I'm really gonna have to move that camera. Watch Biden host Indo-Pacific leaders as China concerns grow. Now we need to be afraid of China. Are we going to war with somebody again? Because we're always talking about be afraid, be very afraid. Somebody's coming to get you. Be very. We just got out of that, and now we're back in it with China. But how afraid am I supposed to be if you do all this business with them? If you're doing business with our enemy, how are you not a traitor? Right? If you're doing business with our enemy, why am I concerned? If I trust you, why am I concerned? But I don't trust you. Two co-hosts of the View. Yeah. Excuse me. And you're still auditing this vote, and it's like September. Sham Arizona, or they call it a sham. Audit restates Trump lost, but it may have succeeded in another way. ISIS affiliate claims attack on Taliban in Afghan city of Jalalabad. They're both nut jobs. So ISIS wants to do worse than the Taliban, and the Taliban is pretty shitty. So I think you deserve it. It should spill out, and we'll see what happens. Wow, it must have been a really slow week. Excuse me. January 6th riots who took bear from Pelosi's office pleads guilty. He took a bear, so he's in there stealing. That's the thing, right? Stealing. I mean, the capper is the guy walking out with the podium. I'm just kind of like, dude, right? And these are the same people who will say, uh, when these Black Lives Matter riots happen and people looting, they're like, see, it's never about this. It's always about, to kind of shut up. And now you're in the same boat because you're implying that everybody there should act in a way that you approve of, right? But here's the thing: the January 6th, everybody acted in a way that you approved of. They stole shit. They rushed the door. They hit cops, right? And then all of a sudden, nobody knows nothing. People could have got 20 years for this nonsense. People taking pictures with their feet up on the desk. Like I said, nobody's voting for that guy. He's not going to be president. And the other guy with the weird suit and the horns, he's not going to be chief of defense. The military isn't going to be listening to those guys. I mean, I know you're trying to keep me freaked out and afraid of everything, but these guys, It's ridiculous. Teen survives bite by a 500-pound shark, loses 70% of his blood volume. Yeah, that's a problem. A federal arrest warrant issued for Gabby Petito's boyfriend. He got to leave the scene. He got to drive home. He got to stay out walking around, and now you're looking for him. Look, I think he walked into the swamp and was like, I'm not going to jail for 50 years or whatever the case is going to be. Uh, and no one's going to believe me whether I did it or it was an accident or she ran away and fell or whatever the fucking case may be. And I think he knew that coming back. And he probably got, you know, a six pack or whatever and walked. He left his ID and his wallet, right? And walked into the swamp. I mean, them gators are big. Gators are ginormous. Two of them will polish your body completely off. They're like 15, 20 feet long, 1,500 pounds, right? They're like they're like snapping mouse traps for people that eat you. Owner of Squid Game's phone number facing endless calls, Netflix responds. Cowboy Bebop. I mean, there's a show that everybody told me about, and I never saw it. I mean, we're trying to watch it, and there was a little girl who was weird, and I was just kind of like, no, I'm not in the mood for this. And that was that. But man, I'm still trying to finish Squid Games, which is pretty fucking awesome. Um, White House prods companies on chip information requests. The government should be able to make you make these chips if we need them for state shit. Oh, good lord, America keeps acting like, yeah. I feel like America is going broke, but what it's doing to keep its up appearances is like feeding the neighbors' kids and doing all that. But then when the neighbors go home, feeding their own kids peanut butter jelly sandwich and crackers. You know what I mean? The kids are wearing fucking hand me down full of rat holes and all this, but they have to hide in the basement so the politicians can come strut out in their Brooks Brothers suit and their, what's that lady from New York, that DKNY shit, just smiling. I always say I don't. Man, I think this whole thing is very bad. Brian Laundrie left home without a phone or wallet, and his parents are concerned he might kill himself. Yeah, I think he's. I mean, look, he could have just acted like he walked into X, Y, or Z, and could be back on the road, right? I mean, this is where we are. And if I can just point this out, you young men out there with girlfriends who are exacerbating, dude, 7 billion people on the planet, half of them are women. Go get another girlfriend. What are you doing? I hate to be the one to tell you. Some people are just broken, and it's not them. I'm telling you. You see some of the home lives of these people. You should ask their parents, "What the fuck did you do?" Emaciated puppy found in cardboard box battling for his life. That's not the kind of stuff I want to hear. Lord. Wow, it really was a quiet day. SCOTUS revises oral argument format ahead of blockbuster term. U.S. domestic terrorism investigations have more than doubled. Okay, so that just tells me you weren't doing shit before. Oh my God, the FBI, man. People are ridiculous. Like this one. Uh it asks the Squid Game's age rating. Is it appropriate for kids? There's a rating. Why is this an article? There's a rating system in this country. What? And I saw stuff that was completely not appropriate for kids, but I saw it with my parents and they thought it was fine. So, if you know your kids and you think it's goofy and silly fun, I wouldn't actually watch it. What kind of kids do? Maybe you should watching this with your kids is why some kids are losing their shit when they become adults. Um, but I mean, why would they be any different? It's a steady diet of like violence and aggression in this society. Violence, aggression, and sex and violence, right? Statue toppled after George Floyd death, returns to Wisconsin following $82,000 in repairs. So they toppled the statue, people repaired it and put it back up. Okay, good job. Good Lord. Biden, we are not seeking another Cold War. What does that even mean? Okay, let's talk about this border patrol thing real quick. Um, so you got some guys on horses whacking at people with these long ass reins, and I think they're long for a reason, so you could stand up there, not lose control of the horse, and fucking whack people with a leather strap. Uh, and what the guy said, I would fire him. It was inherently racist. It was completely out of bounds, man. In this environment, and excuse me, I said this before. You deserve to be fired if you're a cop and you don't adjust your behavior in this environment. And the first thing he did was let his anger and his hatred take over him. That's why your country's shit, because you treat your women like this. The fuck do you know how they treat their women? You know, it's just a racist thing to fucking say. And let's be clear, every time you turn around on American television, somebody's murdering off a white girl. So you could make an argument of how people treat people. It can also be shown here. How the men treat the women, rather, can also be shown here. Right? It was just a blatantly arrogant and fucked up thing to say for a civil servant. Right? It's not your job. It really isn't. It's the state's job. They filled it with you. You can sit there for 20 years, make a pension off it, and then go about your way. And then when you leave, they will fill it with somebody else. Do not act like you cannot be fired from a gig. The only thing that is yours is the thing you start. I started this laundromat. I started this music company. I started this film company. I started this publishing house. Until you sell shares and you sell more than you keep, and then they can get rid of you. So if you sell shares, always keep the majority of it. Always, always. Because once you're the founder but the minority shareholder, it's your ass. Um, but yeah, but this is not that. What is this? This is government work. What is yours in government work? Nothing. Your time is given for salaried payment. You're not just doing this out of the kindness of your heart. And I love the police like gig. I did not expect to like it. I'm a bleeding heart Boy Scout kind of a person, and I really liked helping people as much as I could. It was great. It was fucking great. Every now and then you got punched in the face. Yeah, it comes with the territory. But they act like they're judge, jury, and executioner, and the only thing that comes with the territory is them looking down their nose at you, and that is not it. This is not the 1500s anymore. You are not superior. Now you are fucking fired. And I've known cops who got fired, right? And when you're fired from a police gig, nobody wants to hire you. Well, normally nobody wants to hire you because you've been fired from. It's like getting a bad discharge from the military. People look at you like, oh, yeah, I mean, the military gave you. Nah, we don't want that kind of stuff here. Um, yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Uh, Fucked up meanness for the sake of fucked up meanness. Yeah, let's do this. Close some of this now that the sun is down. Okay. Oops, sorry. Uh, so I mean, what are you gonna do? We were actually late by a little bit, weren't we? I think I don't think we were late. I think we were. I think we were late by a few minutes. If we, but man, Florida woman 74 fights off alligator to save her pet dog from attack. Oh my God, this is what my sister-in-law was talking about. We were talking about this guy whose dog got eaten by an alligator yesterday. We read about this yesterday. What Yank beat the Reds 5-3. The my God, the Yankees beat the. Good job. What's everybody's records going in? Can you tell me, William, if you don't mind? Anybody over 100 for the season? Right? Isn't that supposed to be the benchmark? You want 100 games? You want to win 100 games out of 106? Oh, do they play 160 games? 106. I have 116 and 160 in my head. How many games are played in the regular season of baseball? 162 games. All right. All right. 162 games. Florida woman 74 fights off alligator to save pet dog from attack. Ugh. We said this yesterday. Know what's in your zone, right? So if you live in Maine, you got to watch out for moose. If you live in Alaska, my family spent time in Alaska. You got to watch out for giant moose who attack people, kill people, right? Polar bears, like deer, right? All these like large creatures. Wolves. Here, well, not I would say here in New York. Uh, New York City proper doesn't have much because there's a lot going on there. But when you go out to the outskirts, there are deer and black bear, right? There are cougars, mountain lions, which are essentially cougars, mountain lions, and grizzly bear in California. When you go take a hike up into the woods, the wood. Well, I don't even look at the hills. I don't know what you call it. I've never been there. Um, Florida has alligators. Will eat you and your dog, right? One ate a little boy at Disney World. Um, yeah, there are coyotes. Just know what's in your zone. Yeah. So down here, we don't have a lot of giant animal, like there are no bears, right? There are no. I mean, Florida has a panther. Florida also has the smallest deer, right? That's about to go extinct. But maybe the problem is that we as people are just consuming all things, all the food, all the space, and then we're ruining it. Maybe we will be the thing that breeds out. Maybe we're the cancer on the planet. We will breed out of control and then wipe out enough stuff where war doesn't have to kill us off, right? Something like, oh, wow, the food chain has broken down or the ocean current has broken down. And then you get to be dug up in like 10,000 years by the next intelligent thing here. And they're like, oh, look, these people obviously worship plastic. They made everything out of plastic. Plastic is everywhere. Uh, like I said, the world is going to, the earth is going to be here. We just won't. Uh, so just like it was all methane and then everything was, um, no, it was all carbon dioxide. And then the plants came and made everything oxygen and killed off all the shit that needed carbon dioxide, right? So now we're absorbing all the carbon, all the oxygen, and then the whole place will be methane, and then whatever comes next will be methane based, carbon dioxide and methane based, and then another 50,000 years, 50,000, another like 50 million years, the next thing will be back to carbon, right? I mean, I don't know. All right, give me a second. I'll be right back. It's Saturday. This is what I've been thinking. I've been thinking about giving a bulletin on some of these shows. I've also been thinking about taking a day off. I haven't had a day off from streaming in a while. So I was thinking maybe I'll take a day off on Thanksgiving and on Christmas. The last time we had this kind of talk, it was July 4th. We streamed on July 4th. Uh, no, that wasn't the last time. We talked about it on July 4th. The last time we had this conversation was September 11th. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be here. But we were here for a little bit. Didn't talk about September 11th, which was good. But we were here for a little bit. So I think I might take Thanksgiving Day off. That's a might. I might take Christmas. I probably won't take Christmas off. It's not like I have like a tree to get and that latest cool hot toy like Jingle All the Way. Jingle All the Way. So maybe I will stream here, whoever happens to be here. And I will definitely be here on New Year's Eve because I'm not going to a party. Yeah, let's say that. Then I dare fate to change it. I'm not going to a party. Hear that, fate? There's no party. All right. Okay, I guess that's it. I was expecting a phone call to ring. Hey, dude, guess what? We just got New Year's Eve parties to go to this swanky wonderfulness with these great and wonderful people. And I'm like, oh man, I knew it. But no, that only happens in the interesting people live. All right, I'll be back in 30 seconds, maybe 40. Oh yeah. All right. This is what it is, man. We're slowly walking into the holiday seasons with an S, right? The holiday seasons are going to be, well, I call them holiday. I know some of them are observances. I just always call them holidays. But the observances are going to be like, there you go. The observances are going to be like Halloween, get a costume out, try and find a party. I remember those days. Thanksgiving. Do people still have Friendsgiving? I guess not during the pandemic. Thanksgiving, where you have a small gathering of people in a pandemic with your fam. Um, and then Christmas, which is the same thing as Thanksgiving. Uh, at least I always thought so. I know we're supposed to be thanking, giving thanks for what we have and remembering the pilgrims, but it's not really about. And are we calling it Indigenous Day anymore? Which I just think is stupid. Uh, Here's the problem. There's nothing wrong with Thanksgiving. I get Columbus Day you got to beef with, but Thanksgiving is, oh, we almost died and these people saved us. We should be thankful for that. That's what Thanksgiving is. Stop laying all this other shit on Thanksgiving. Um, I've actually avoided the holidays. That's my aunts and uncles. One, yeah, go see your fam. They won't always be here, man. It's. I know you didn't ask for my opinion, and I don't mean to be so presumptuous as to get in your business, but you know, these are our ancestors. We should have a little. I don't know. And don't get it wrong. I'm not saying to listen to everything they say and do exactly. But there's a nice energy to seeing older people who look like you down the line. And I don't know. This pandemic has me up a tree. Uh, I just lost a cousin who's my age, and she didn't want to get vaccinated. And you just think about it and you go, huh, right? You never know when I don't even. The last time I saw her was, I think the last time I saw her was either at a funeral or a wedding. But you don't really think about it because not everybody's on social media and you can see them all the time, even though you're not really interacting with them. Uh, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, man. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said anything, but yeah, they want to see you. That's the cool thing, right? I'm sure there's some cousins. They're like, nah, we don't want to see that motherfucker. Nah, but you, Meek, you got to come through because we got love for you. But don't bring, Bob. Bob drinks a lot of Ripple. He drinks a lot of sherry. And then you get there, and your aunt's gonna be like, "Oh, you haven't eaten enough. Eating like you're gonna," and then you're gonna be taking stuff home in like to go bags. Yeah, my whole thing is, I don't like to travel. The drive. I like to drive, but I didn't like to, because then I can't leave, and I just can't walk into another room and do my. I feel like I'm at my relative's house, but it's not my domain. Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh, all right. No, I totally feel you. I would love to see them, but they are anti-vax super spreaders and Q theorists. Wow. Okay, I feel you. Because that is quite a conversation at the dinner table. Back in the day, there's always these people, right? Back in the day, there were people who would tell you how uh, they believed that the government covered up Martian landings or that the government um, knew about. I mean, there's just conspiracy people, right? The whole JFK thing became a giant thing. So yeah, I guess people just. What do you do about people who are just conspiracy? You can't really ignore them and be like, "Psst," because their numbers may grow, and then you can't go, "Oh, I'm putting my finger on that," because then they'll think that they're being suppressed, and then their numbers will grow. I think the only thing you can really do is sort of embarrass them with the facts, but some people don't care about the facts. You could threaten them. I mean, no one showed up on that when was it? September 20th or whatever it was. September 20th march for the January 6th people. Everybody thought that the government was watching them. Yeah, dummy, the government is watching you. You tried to run into the place of January 6th. They can't get caught with their pants down again. So if you booked a trip or a ticket, you tripped some bell in some government office in the basement of some federal building with some, I was going to say hard work, but now I'm just thinking with just somebody there who probably, that phone call goes to an answer machine in a bathroom, right? And then after January 6th, that phone call goes to some very important people's desks because they were playing short shrift all this time and now they have to answer for it because people above them want to know what the fuck happened. I mean, you couldn't have the same thing happen twice. Can you imagine the January 6th, right? Like you didn't catch him January 6th. So they have another march. What, the 20th? What's the date? The 25th? Last week Saturday. So they had another march last week. And then the same thing happens. They'd be like, this happened 7 months ago. You people are all, so yeah, of course they're going to be guards every place and super secret security cameras and those undercovers who always look like undercovers. They always have like cop haircuts with a mustache, right? Dressed like you, but they all dress so much alike that they just look like they're a boy band dressed alike versus dressed like you. Um, there's a picture. I don't even know what the name of the picture is. Uh, Jan 6 support rally. In support of, all right, maybe I can find a picture of those guys because they were definitely cops. I was crying Well, I don't want to say definitely, but man, did they look like cops. It was super popular. Where is it now? Ugh. Oh well. Some days you get it and it's hysterical. Some days you don't. And this is the kind of shit I'm talking about. You come to a peaceful protest with a fucking firearm. First off, you're not supposed to have firearms like this in the DC district around these guys. He's already in violation, and he's got all this stuff on. Like, what is he gonna do? What is he expecting to happen? But he's supposed to poop the government and the flag and the cops. He did yesterday, but now he's like, fuck those guys. They don't really stand for anything. They really don't. They really don't. They just, boy. Pro-Trump protesters breach Capitol. Yeah, this was 6 months ago. Outrageous. The behavior was absolutely outrageous. Washington, D.C., pro-Trump proud Capitol, September 18th is what we're looking for. What I say, September 20th? It just doesn't make any sense. Look at how many people showed up to this thing. Oh, good Lord, I don't have you. Oh, I'm sorry. Oop, whoops, sorry. Hit the wrong thing. All right, here you go. Look at how many, there's more. Does he have a press pass? I think he's got a press pass. These are camera people. He's camera people. Look at it. You can see all the white shirts. Camera people, camera person, camera person. Well, is she taking pictures or is she? Yeah, I think they're all camera people. I think the bulk of whatever is these guys with the flags, a couple of picket signs. Oh, good Lord, man. Sorry. All right, so let's try this again. So I think is that a? I want to say that's a Trump. He might be a protester. But like these people with the flags, and over here as we spin this way, you only see 2, 3. You only see a handful of freaking. You only see like 3 placards. So yeah, nobody showed up. But the guys who were trying to look like regular average guys, they looked hysterical. It was so funny. And there were also no politicians there like there was January 6th. Yeah, no one's going to pay a price. All right, well, I guess that's it. Look at this picture. Good Lord. I mean, they put all this stuff up January 6th. They kept it up. Then they took it all down. And then they had to put it up a week later for this rally. And I was just kind of like, why didn't you just leave it up an additional week? Eventually, it'll be one guy in a Proud Boy shirt running into the Capitol with a wooden stick and a football helmet. Yeah, exactly. Oh my God, that's so good. Eventually, it'll be one guy in a Proud Boy shirt running into the Capitol with a wooden stick and a football helmet. Exactly. I mean, these guys were all just so ridiculous. Wow. There's like no one at any of these rallies. Where's that cop picture of the cops? Because that picture was fucking pretty fucking good. Maybe I should write undercover. January rally. Undercover. Society is weird. Like that Proud Boys guy, he was also a government informant. and about your own group. And then the group, he is still the head of the group. He's still the head of the Proud Boys. I'm like, what? I'm gonna rat you guys out to the government. The government tells on me after this whole thing, and then I'm still your leader because, well, I don't. Okay, this is all gone, but I guess we can close that. I mean, man, that doesn't make any sense to me. I guess people are desperate and they want leadership for this of any kind, but the guy is obviously a snitch, and I thought snitches were bad. Snitches get stitches, bitches. That's at least what we used to say when we were kids. Snitches get stitches, bitches. But as I got older, I realized this is my thing. I told my nephew this. I love him. He's second generation hip hop, and I had to drop the knowledge on him. So if you and I rob a bank, right, and we get away with what are we getting away with? I've got no luxurious items here. We get away with these 2 pens and my okay. 3 pens and my pen for my iPad there. And I get caught. And you sell these for $1 million. The cop asks me, who are you in with? If I tell on you, first of all, there's no honor among thieves. All right. So the idea of, oh man, he's going to do 10 years, but we're going to save his share. I was about to do the stroke, but I'm just assuming we have ladies watching, so I'm not going to do that. But nuts to that. No honor among thieves. Having said that, so if I get caught, honor among thieves says, man, I got caught. I'll take the weight. It's all on me. And the honor among thieves also says, I'm going to hold your share or give it to your woman, right? But, back in the day, there was honor among dating as well, right? You give it to your woman now, I think she's likely ghost and going to spend the money. I'm not talking about your wife. I'm talking about your girlfriend, right? So the idea of waiting for somebody 10 years in prison is a romantic idea in movies. Just like the guy saving the money is a romantic idea for criminals in movies. The idea of snitching is just a self-serving bullshit pact between people and everybody. There's nothing but jailhouse snitches and people who, you know what I'm saying? So the idea of this, back to original, we rob 3, 4, 5 pencils and you can sell them for $1 million and I get caught. Me telling on you is snitching, right? If you rob it and I see it and I live in the neighborhood and that's not snitching. I'm not part of this robbery. I'm just a citizen walking by. Don't snitch. Why? Because we don't like the cops? Well, yeah, because the cops treat us badly, but who also treats us badly? You fucking drug dealers and your bullshit. It's not, and I used to tell people this when in New York. It's not, I don't see any fucking white people here fucking pissing in the project stairwells and doing all this mugging. I see black people doing this shit to black people. So before you tell me not to like the cops, maybe you should secure this location, like this whole deal. Patrol it yourself. So your whole position is fuck the cops. And on top of that, if any crime happens, I didn't see anything. So how do you make the situation better? How do you make the environment better? You see the kind of nonsense I'm up against? Because the first thing people go, man, you a snitch. No, I'm not. I didn't help him rob anything. And if I did, and I'll fucking say at the top of my voice, you're a shitty drug dealer and you're bad for the neighborhood. The guys who are moving drugs and nobody knows they're doing it means they're not getting in shootouts. Let the clever cops catch them if they can, fine. But all this, I got a stack of money and a giant gold chain, and I live in the projects, and I shoot up the joint. Fuck you. And the only thing people do is write music about it. Happy songs of fucking gunnery. Right? There was that rapper whose all his songs are gun songs, and then someone killed his brother. And I was like, I got no sympathy. I got no sympathy. Because your music is the theme music to a lot of bullshit, right? just nonsense people. And I like music, and I don't want to be a curmudgeonly old man and judge the kids' music. But it's, I mean, what is the redeeming quality of it? It's all about the club. The club is not church. Surely there's something else going on in your existence, and you get the right music and be a musician, or let's call it a performer. A lot of people don't play music, but the art of spoken word is a talent. Don't get it twisted. Just because they're young urban kids, some of them are really good at poetry and meter and bars and progressions and all this stuff, and some are not. And the ones who are not are only ever finding hot beats to rap bullshit over. They're not clever. They're not witty. I mean, you want witty and clever wordplay. Eminem is good at that, right? If you just want stupid statements about hip hop, then that's a lot of other music, and it's not clever. It's I've got a gun, I've got a nice car. Look, I bought my girl a Birkin bag. Whatever rhyme with those things, that'll be the rhyme. It won't be clever. It won't be witty. It won't be urbane. It won't be anything. A lot of it is just bullshit. Um, but yeah, but then this is me. Old man yells at clouds. You can't sing your rap music, right? But my whole position is that's my rap music. We left it to you, and you fucked it up. You sold it out for evil. Uh, I said this before. Rap music was new. It got Mandela out of prison. Yes, it did. That wasn't American politicians. That was urban inner city rap kids, mostly in New York. Which is why when he got out, he came to visit New York, and he visited the preachers, of course, right? But he wanted to come to New York, who got this whole thing kicked off, right? And that wasn't the only thing that hip hop did when it was young. It took on the crack epidemic, right? There was a ton of songs about don't do crack and crack is whack and you're headed for self destruction. There was a ton of those kind of cultural. Come on, we can do it. We can pull ourselves together. And now it's all fuck you. I got a gun. My gang of blacks is tougher than your gang of blacks, and we'll shoot y'all up. And I fuck all the women, and I'm always at the club, and I got more money than you. Ha ha ha. Okay, none of this shit is gonna age well. Yeah, yeah. But the thing is, kids like what their parents like, right? And if all you ever do is play bullshit music in the back of the car, uh, they'll learn what you're listening to with no context. And I think that's a lot of it. Uh, when I was a kid, I knew a lot of sex songs, right? I didn't know there were sex songs, but I knew who Teddy Pendergrass and Barry White, and it was always on the radio. And it was, as you get old, you go, oh, but that you had to sort of figure. It wasn't like, oh, baby, give me a pussy, do your phone. It was sort of uh, prose about like love, right? And sometimes even if it wasn't blatant, but it was obvious. I want to lay down next to me, right? That's Barry White. But now the rap lyric is like I was listening to the thing a couple days ago. Let me beat the pussy up one more time. That's the rap lyric. And I was like, what? And like the term again, excuse me, beat the pussy up is just an urban slang term for being good at sex. Like, yeah. So okay, I mean, we had words for sex for my generation. I'm sure people had it for their submarine races comes to mind, right? Wasn't that a euphemism for taking a girl to the park and having sex in a car? Because there's no such thing. You can't see the submarine races, right? You can't, So it's the idea of. But okay, you get to pick your own funky term. But at this point, it's like there's not even any creative imagination to your terminology for sex anymore. It's all clubs, it's all money, it's all look at the new thing I bought, and you're a bitch because you're broke. And I'm like, okay, if I'm broke, why am I giving you my money so you can call me a broke bitch? I don't understand what the new music is about. That's why I call it corporate hip hop. Whatever it is, it's not organic in nature at all. Eventually, it would be one kind of, yeah. I wish more kids were into Dell, the funky Homo sapien, and Mob Deep. Yeah, but the Mob Deep is 25 years old, right? When was Mob Deep? See, a lot of these, and that's another thing. You don't want to sit there and go, "You damn kid, sing your fucking music." Let me tell you what's wrong with you. You should be talking about this and that. You know, they are how they are because somewhere along the way, we as the adults failed them. That's why they're there. And now telling them you're shitty adults and you need to change is a surefire way to get conflict with the young people. The young people, he said. Dang kids. Ah, I may pack my Gandalf pipe here. We screwed up and gave them kids bop. Yeah, right. Um, things can things can be led astray, and I think that's what happened. I think all this showy money stuff is what happened. Do you want to be rich or do you want to be, And then people are like, yeah, I'd rather be rich because I'm straight from the projects. How many of these people can even? Snottily. I say this snottily. I think my nephew is sick of hearing me say it. What like not him, but like these rappers? What's the last book they read? What do they base any of this? Normally, I'm an artist, right? I paint, I draw, I write. I've written scripts, short stories, paintings in the back. Used to write rhymes, even though I didn't say them. Used to love to write rhymes. Like I'm fairly creative. I draw. I've got a ton of art books here. I've never been able to. Well, that's not true. I've done it a couple of times. I've rarely sat down and wrote something about something. Oh, the Bay of Pigs. That's outrageous. Let me write a rhyme. That happens to people. I don't see that happening to anybody. When they choked out George Floyd, all these rappers who've got guns, 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 bitches, bitches, kill, kill, murder, 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 all had a George Floyd song, right? Some of them were good. But I was like, oh, somebody actually sat down with a modern theme and tried to write something good. And then it was a one of, right? So it's like they had all this shit coming down the pipeline, dropping randomly, and then this thing happened. Like, oh, then they ran and made a special song for this. And then through their catalog of fuck you, got guns, my giant car, my giant house, uh, shoot up the joint. There's this one profound song about police brutality and George Floyd. And then as soon as that's over, it goes back to kill you, kill your man, fuck you niggas. It's just kind of like, you know what? What? It's like if my whole rap career was about smacking people, smacking women, pushing women, smacking women. I'll smack y'all ladies around, and I don't, And then I write one song about love and deep emotion and how you complete me, woman. And everybody goes, oh, wow, he must have. And then the next song is back to smack a bitch and fuck a hoe. And, you sit here like, what is your actual art, artistic philosophy? What? I'll give you an example. MC Hammer. There's a lot of different types of rap, right? So MC Hammer uh, was an entertainer, dancer, rapper, right? He made pop rap music to dance to. And then when people got sick of that, all of a sudden he was dressing all black with Timberlands and a knitted cap, doing gangster raps. And people were like, you? No, no, no. I get their gangster raps from those gangster dudes who never smiled, who started out that way and are still doing that. If I want that, I'm going to go over there and get that from them. I'm kind of tired of what you were doing, and what you're doing now is what they're doing. So no, he should have reinvented himself, and I don't know how to reinvent yourself because let's be clear, uh, Madonna did it a bunch, right? And her chief rival was Cyndi Lauper, and Cyndi Lauper couldn't do it at all. Cyndi Lauper is still running around with a punk haircut like it's 1988. But yeah, Cyndi Lauper, what did I say? Cindy Crawford, Cyndi Lauper. Cyndi Lauper had the best voice of the two, right? But Madonna worked the system better, right? One's an artist and one's a showman. I think that's the difference. Yeah, really? I missed that one. Let's look that up. But yeah, it's like I don't want to. I like the public stage. I don't want to go away. The people are like go away. Let's look up. I want to write gangster MC Hammer. Yeah, here's a picture of him. And people were like, "Wait, what? I'm sorry, what? What are you selling me here, MC Hammer? I'm selling you street realness." Okay, what about the giant pants and the yeah? Nobody bought this album. MC Vanilla Ice, MC Hammer, and Kevin Jones, music stars who know what is this one? Who was Kevin Jones? And Kevin Jones, music stars who now work, uh, now work normal jobs. I mean, you made so much money. How did you lose it? But no one ever asks the obvious question: Who handled your money? Is the question you should be asking. People act like he's at the table with a abacus or a calculator doing this. He has handlers and people. And the problem is, as my lawyer friends tell me, you get $50 million and they steal it, and you have 40. Now you have to hire a lawyer to get the 50 million back. That might cost you another 10 million. Do you really want to risk it by hiring lawyers? And you may say the wrong thing, and then they may sue you back for it. Right? It's a money sink. It's always pulling money out of your pocket. And the people who are connected, don't have these problems. Because look, there's a different banking system for those people. There's a different judicial system for those people. There's a different political system for those people. He even tried being into metal because the Limp Bizkit boom in the early '90s. Really? Limp Bizkit. I actually had a Limp Bizkit. That first Limp Bizkit album was not bad. They get a lot of shit about it now, but it was not bad. They just didn't have a follow up. Just one of those days. um, and that's the thing I hate. People are always trying to get you to hate somebody. All right, so it's me, you, and what was his name? Me, you, and oh, that bright red hair. I forgot his name. Straight out of my head. Had it, but I liked it. I enjoyed it. There's a lot of things that people want me to hate on, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to hate on that. They want me to hate on. It's on Netflix now. The first Green Lantern. I even heard the actor talk about how bad it was. I was like, I love comic books. This is not a bad comic book movie. Stop hating on it because it's a cool thing to do. It's that, and there's another one that people hate on. I'm going to say the Hulk movies with Edward Norton, which I don't mind either. There's too much, like not countermanding, but there's too much armchair quarterbacking after something out. It was out forever. Now all of a sudden I have to hate it. Why do I have to hate it? And this isn't casting. It was a good movie. And you have to have movies like that before you can, like, 10 years later or 15 years later get to the Iron Man movie, right? Which essentially set the tone. Um, and it was the most comic book movie I think I've ever seen, right? It felt like reading a comic book in pictures. It had a premise, a beginning, a middle, and it was short on Hollywood romance and oh boy, short on Hollywood romance and all this other silly exposition. It was an action movie. It was a good comic book movie. It felt like after you put it down, you could pick up. Well, you couldn't do it then because it was brand new, but now there are 20 of them. So you could literally watch that movie like a comic book and throw in another one and follow the story, right? Uh, and that was the live action version of what they had started doing um, with cartoons, right? And here's a weird thing: DC's cartoons about their characters are great. They're really great. And Marvel's cartoons about their characters are meh, right? DC's movies are meh. But Marvel's movies about their characters off. What? So it's really I mean, if you're into this sort of thing, and then they both are just I'm okay. I'm glad to see it just because China always had this knack with action movies that was uniquely their own. And I think we sort of slid in with the same thing. Like these action movies are uniquely American. Um, and don't get me wrong, I still love those Chinese Shaw Brothers, like Five Deadly Venoms. I still love them, but that's unique. And we tried to use some of it. The Matrix, for one, is a very much a Chinese martial arts movie. And we tried to use it, but these superhero movies are very, very like the Bourne movies are essentially James Bond movies with an American sensibility. Fuck the bitches. I'm gonna put my whole foot in your ass, right? It's a fight movie versus James Bond, who has time to stop and have a glass of tea and kiss the girls and buy a nice suit and then go beat people up. Very respectably British, beat them up. Nah, that scene in the Bourne, what was it? The Bourne, was it the Bourne Identity or the Bourne Ultimatum? I think it was the second one where he beats that guy with a pencil. It's just kind of like, huh, James Bond wouldn't have done that. Um, yeah, we as Americans have a look, and whether if the world was a bar, I don't know if we would be the biggest dudes in it, right? But we would be the dudes in it who would fucking do the wild shit, right? The British like us because we're on their side, but the British complain about us a lot. Our allies complain. If you follow politics, our allies complain about us a lot. Uh, and as you grow up, you just go, oh, English and Britain and da 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 and France and da da da, and we're Americans. Yeah, okay, Canada, okay. As you follow politics, at least as I follow politics throughout my life, you realize there's a certain type of thing that is American, and you can erase it, right? All these people who don't know what it is, if you have 10 Americans in your country and you invite 50 people in from all over the place, how American are you anymore, right? I really do think that we're becoming Europe. Uh, but there's some things that Europe don't like about us, like our gun culture. And we have a gun culture because what? Why? Anybody know? We have a gun culture, not just the founders say so. There were fucking bears everywhere. There were cougars and lions everywhere, right? Um, Birds to shoot. I mean, yeah, we wiped out the passenger pigeon and the buffalo. Well, not we. I didn't do it. Um, my group couldn't have guns, but the idea of it is ridiculous. Uh, all by the time that there was really nothing else to do in Europe. There really wasn't. I mean, yeah, you could build a train and another tall building, but we had to fucking still, you know, tame the land, so to speak. I was told once that most of the world looks at America like most of America looks at Texas. That shit is so good. I'm gonna have to remember that. Yeah, yeah. What you want is the crazy person on your side, and we're crazy people, right? And look, like this whole thing about not Australia, France being mad at us over this. That's something that we would do. That is totally something that we would do. But we're also the kind of people who will fucking show up on your doorstep to bust your enemy's ass. We've done that several times before, right? So a lot of these people, a lot of our allies, how can I say this? A lot of our allies are a bit prim and proper and too talky. Every now and then, you want somebody to punch somebody in the face. So, but here's the problem. Sometimes you don't want your friend to punch somebody in the face, and he does, and now you got to be in a fight with your friend. and you're like, God damn it, again this week. This is another bar fight. You know what I mean? And that's I think that's where a lot of European energy with America is. I said this on this show before. They like us because we're a giant country. We have the third largest population behind India and China, right? India has a billion and some change. China has about a billion. America has about 340 million people. I think that no one, I think Russia has 110. We can look up these numbers. Russia has like 110 or 20. England have like 60. France has 40, right? So it's not just war. It's like, ooh, I want to sell toasters. So if I'm gonna, let's say instead of millions, these are 10 digits, right? So England has 60,000, 60 people. America has 345 people. Uh, Australia had like 20 million people, right? So Australia will have like 20 people. But when the shit kicks off, you can send 5 soldiers and we'll send 80. It's that kind of thing, right? Um, but not just that. It's I can sell 3 toasters. They have 60 people in England. So let's say I can sell everybody has a refrigerator. I can sell 60 refrigerators to the English, but as an English refrigerator, so but I can also sell 345. They've got I can sell more shit and ball out of control to the Americans. I want to be part of their market. Um, I'm sure everybody would like to sell shit to India, but India is, I hate to say it, it's a toilet. I mean, burning people on the side of the Ganges. And I mean, can you imagine if this is America? You're just and it's all religious based, right? So it's hard for them to change any of this. Um, I mean, it's why Afghanistan is a shit show because they say the religion says women can't do X, Y, or Z. And we just had 20 years of dealing with it. And now those people who grew up there are like, hey, they're not letting us do X, Y, and Z. Americans come, you know what? You raised sons here. They should have been on board with this, and they weren't. So I don't know what to tell you. It's the environment is so fucking dark. But not here. And if I think if we became less globalist, people would be more beholden to us. Because I look at it like this: nobody, and I mean nobody, wants China to be the world's policeman. China could give a fuck about what anybody does to you in the border. At least America will say something, even though they don't do anything about it. At least we'll say, hey, 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 Iran, you should let your women drive, man. That's fucked up that you don't. But China's like, we don't care if you let them bitches drive. Like, you people are like godless. They're running an extermination of the Uyghurs there. Why are we in bed with those people? We're trying to talk nice to keep the trade going. But I think we want our situation is essentially the same as the British situation with the China. We want to sell them they've got a billion people. I want to sell them a billion toasters. But you got in bed with the devil. You shouldn't want to sell them shit. You really shouldn't. You really shouldn't. And this is where we are. The immorality of money by moralist people. All right. So that was a little bit about China and what I think our it's not a blind spot. Our arrogant position. Why are you trading with the enemies? Well, we can because we're politicians and we say it's all right. So what's going to happen is I really do believe this. Somebody's going to swoop in, take control of the country. It won't be Donald Trump, and because he's going to have to, and he's going to say, "Stop giving money to people." $1 trillion. They're talking about $7 trillion. They're talking about half of it. I'm sorry, $1 trillion. They're talking about half of it went to defense contractors in this country. So the government gave $500 billion or more to government, not government agencies, to a government. What do they call them? They're a private company, but they only do business with the government. So they're like a uh, I guess a contractor. uh, so yeah, hold it. Wait. So what is this? I forgot what I was actually going to look up just now. Um, yeah, I was looking up the Afghanistan trains went where? The U.S. spent 2 trillion in Afghanistan, 2 trillion in Afghanistan, and half of that went to defense contractors. China may align itself with the Taliban and try to exploit what? The rare earth metals. I don't doubt Afghan. What is the conflict costing U.S. and its allies? The war would be a much better place if China fell. But I hate to say it, the war would probably be a much better place if we fell too. Here's your problem. The U.S. spent 2 trillion in Afghanistan, and for what? There's no shortage of benchmarks to count the cost of the United States' longest war. Blood is by far the most precious metric. Treasure feels insignificant by comparison. That is a nice opening. Fucking see, this is what I'm talking about. Alliteration, not alliteration. That's not alliteration. Is when you use a lot of the she shell by the seashore is alliteration. The occurrence of the same letter or sound at the beginning or adjacent or closely connected words, right? She shell by the seashore. How shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more beautiful. All right, no Shakespeare. There's no shortage of benchmarks to count the cost of the United States' longest war. Blood is by far the most precious metric. Treasure feels insignificant by comparison. But as images of Afghanistan swarming Kabul airport, desperately trying to flee, yeah, only the first two sentences were beautiful, trying to flee the Taliban rule, flooded screens across the world. The vast sums the U.S. spent trying to build Afghanistan into a liberal democracy deserves a thorough audit. Otherwise, the lessons may be forgotten and tragic mistakes repeated. Oh, really? Is that why? Or is it just to kind of like shine a light on the fuckery? The bedrock of any nation building effort is security. If people don't feel safe, instability, graft, and corruption flourishes while the formal economy withers. Uh, August 16th, 2021, Patricia Sabga. The war has cost the U.S. 2.26 trillion. It will continue to pay for the war even after it leaves 930 billion Defense Department's war budget. Ugh. 530 billion estimated interest on war borrowing. You borrowed money for this war? 443 billion addition to Defense Department budget. You gave them an additional 443 billion dollars. This is just graft. 265 billion veterans, medical and disability. 59 billion State Department's war budget. The amount of people who should be fucking in prison is not small. It really isn't. Wow, that is really, I mean, I don't even know what to tell you. I don't even know what to tell you. Um, it is Saturday. Get your 420 on. I will say that you should be able to like more like these little like uh in the chat here on this restream that I'm talking about. You should be able to like more than one of them. I'm not talking about like six, but maybe two would be nice because sometimes You get it's not just one thing; it's some bit of each in or and the other. Uh, so I think that might be it. We've been streaming for two. Oh wow, we've been streaming for 2 hours. We stream long on the weekends. That's fine. We've been streaming long in this past 2 weeks. So I think yesterday was 3.5 hours. Day before that was 3 hours. But normally we stream for like an hour and a half, hour and 20 minutes. And if I'm sick and unhealthy, we stream every day, and you're guaranteed to get a minimum of 20 minutes. And we've only been short once, and that was when we were dog sitting, and our 20 minutes became 12 because Dougie was being ridiculous. And then we came back immediately thereafter and had a show. God, I miss that guy, Dougie Doug. What a good little dog he was. Vax van seeks to avert super spreader event at the UN. Did the Vax van? San Francisco Mayor scolds fund police after being criticized for flouting city's indoor mask mandate. Do as I say, not as I do. Melbourne, Australia. Melbourne police fire pepper ball pellets to break up COVID-19 protests. So we don't talk about COVID here, but this is we should look up Space Force because I'm a huge, ginormous fan of Space Force. It looks to me like this. There's a considerable amount of people who don't want to get vaccinated. They fall into several categories. The paranoid, right? The willful and stubborn, and people who claim to be patriots that they're trying to make a point about your body and all this stuff. Again, we don't talk about it, but my whole thing is it's been around a while. How can you not take it seriously? How can you? What do you have that says it isn't what? Because not all the media isn't always lying to you. I mean, what? I mean, and it's not just look. If it was only in your country, I could see you saying some of this, but it's not. It's everywhere. So everybody's manipulating the. I don't know. I think you need to be careful. I mean, because there are people who won't take it. Okay, you need to be careful because it's better if they get it and you don't. um, yeah, boy fails to impress girl as cycling trick goes very wrong in a viral video. Boys have been embarrassing themselves in front of girls for millennia. Why is this in my newspaper? Oh, has he? Dog the bounty hunter? Maybe if we're lucky, the alligator will get him too. Good Lord, I got a pass when I was in jail. Really? Who gave that pass? I'd like to talk to him. Good Lord, Longhorns export Texas 58 rice zip. That is a drubbing. 58 to zip. Yeesh. Man, I mean, there used to be it wasn't just sports teams in high school. Everybody generally played a sport or was involved in something. Chess club, dramas. Now, high schools, I mean, they have football teams and basketball teams, and that's about it. But the teachers get paid a mint. Like they've been slowly weakening, and I really do believe they've been weakening the hands of the American individual. So when you become an adult, you have to depend on them. You have to, right? You're not going to be a lawyer, but you need a lawyer. So now the pool of lawyers is small, and they can charge these absorbent fees. And if you end up, you know, God, what would your life be if you were happy? I'm not talking about if you had a lot of money. I'm talking about if you were happy. And I'm assuming I'm not. I'm assuming a lot. I'm sorry to assume that you're not happy. I don't mean that. But if you, God, how can I phrase this and not offend anybody? Let's say my position is that high, excuse me, high schools, in junior high school, your preparatory public school learning, right? It's supposed to teach you how to socialize. You're supposed to interact. Maybe, I don't know, some high school dances in junior high school and high school, right? Um, uh, Several sports, because not everybody's a basketball player or football player. So maybe they had uh, track and field as well as long distance running. People who weren't so much physical had other sports like astronomy club where they built rockets, or other people who were creative had the band as well as the theater department, right? Not one teacher teaching you a play, but a department. Um, uh, I mean, so all that is gone. All that is gone. Teachers routinely blame the children as they ask for more money. It sounds like teachers don't like these kids. But as soon as you put a camera on the teacher, the first thing they're like, "Oh, we're your first." I'm like, "No, you're the first person who teach you anything is your parent." Teachers, I mean, just like the cops. Well, yeah, we keep you safe. Well, okay, hold on. There's protests because you're fucking killing people. Let's not blow smoke up our own ass about what is going on here. I think they've weakened the hand of like the society and the people, so they could sell you perpetual war amongst yourself from their giant houses. And like everything, it goes too far, right? And now I don't know if you can pull it back, or I mean, who knows? I don't know what the treasury looks like. Maybe it's fucking empty. Maybe the only thing in there is a fucking gum wrapper and a note that's an IOU. Like, what the fuck? And but the only way to know that is like when it all hits the fan and people start hopping on planes to go to live in foreign places, like the Afghan leadership did. They got the fuck out of there. They took bags of money and left. But that's always what they do. The Shah of Iran took bags of gold and left, right? Pinochet took all this fucking gold and money and bearer bonds and left, right? Yeah, I mean, uh, so I mean, the idea of that is maybe you didn't become an architect like you wanted to, but you had coping mechanism, right? Maybe you wrote plays or something. You started writing a book, and maybe that was an avenue. Or maybe you played in the band, and now and you could, whether it's busking or started, you could do something else. I don't know. I just think America sells its citizens war amongst each other. Um, Over the old what do they call them, trips, like that you should have stopped, but you can still use them because they're so entrenched in the system, so they use them. I mean, we're still talking about the cops treating people like shit, and I've been saying this forever. Look, a bully's a bully. So yeah, maybe they're only showing you like the white cops and the black people on TV, but I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of shot white boys too who are not. And true to tell, once you start looking into not just the racial aspect of it, you just start looking into the police. Period. Then people go, hey, what about all these people over here? And before you know it, you got cops who are disrespecting people, and cops who have giant um, disciplinary complaints because I mean, they don't really give discipline to these, right? But they have to take the complaint. In some places, they destroy the complaints. They keep all kinds of government records, but now the federal government finally required them to keep these things because it's not about doing it right. It's about controlling the narrative. And I put these people here, and they're going to do what I say as I go on to be a senator or maybe president, and they're protected because I'm a powerful person. I say this all the time. I work with a guy who killed 7 people, and I'm just kind of like, no one cares, And we complain about it, and people go, and then I mean, the most outrageous thing, we're talking about cops for a second, other than like shooting a child, right, in a playground, um, was that what is that young man's name? Where they put a needle in his neck. I'm like, wait, who runs up, who's the cops, and then injects you with some wild shit? That to me, it just every time I see it, it gets a little more ridiculous. A little more ridiculous. I just like it used to be the cop punched that guy in the face and broke his nose. Oh man, the cops are fucked up. Now it's injecting shit in your neck, right? It's just kind of like what? But instead of fixing these things that we all know what you don't want to happen to you or your kid or a family member, instead of fixing that, you want to go back and forth and debate it forever, and then take money from the lobbyists who are lobbying, which is open bribery, quite frankly, who are lobbying you, the cop unions or the law unions or whoever's, and then you keep it around. Once you know that you can do that, and once you know that you can take money to some Wall Street, which is insider trading, it's a free for all. So then what you end up with is all those people at their level know all the bad shit that everybody's done. We in this brothel of Congress, right? I know how you like it, and I know how you like it, and I know what your kink is, and right. So that's essentially what's going on here. And when the righteous citizen kind of like comes through and gets elected, it's got to happen eventually. And starts asking the right question and is able to make the not make, but is able to bring the citizenry along with him to actual make change, it might be fucking too late. Because I mean, good lord, we give money to everybody, and the bridges are falling down. So I mean, we'll see. Maybe they'll all get a come to Jesus moment. But I think people want several things. They don't want career politicians, meaning you've been there for 50 years, like Joe Biden, right? Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, right? They don't want career politicians. They want term limits, right? So what they want is several things to be placed on the American political class that the American political class won't place on themselves. Um, and I maintain 3 years as a senator, which is about 6 years, and 1 or 2 years as I'm 3 years as a congressman because they have 2 year terms. That's 1 year, and then 2 years as a senator. That's 14 years. That's great. And 2 terms as president. That should be all you need. But some people know they won't ever be president, so they'll sit in Congress forever, making. I mean, these guys are exceedingly wealthy, and the place is just getting worse. And you have to begin to go. At this point, your primary concern ceases to be the American populace and its struggles with health care, criminal justice reform, these uh, what do they call them? These predatory banks, right? These unfair tuition practices, and so what do you? I mean, so this is where people are headed. We're in the richest nation in the world. We're driving people into poverty, and like I said, I can't go up in Congress and change it, but whoever can galvanize whoever to go, yeah, or everybody has officially had it, is gonna be it. Oh man, yeah, thanks for coming through. Well, super like this. So yeah, so I guess I gotta jump off. But I'm glad I hopped on. Your stream is always real. Brain Canyon, top notch. Be safe, man. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm a super of this. Uh, so it's I would encourage people not to be so eager to hate your fellow American who takes the same buses you do, drives the same roads you do, eats in the same restaurants you do. I would encourage you to look seriously at the people telling you to hate your fellow American and see how they live and where they live, and if they do, uh, if their children do what your children do. Because the land of the free and the home of the brave is fast becoming uh, an oligarchical garden. um, yeah, in someone's utopia, somebody always have to wash the dishes and clean the floors, right? And I think in this utopia, it's only a utopia for like 1% of the population, and the rest of us is just trying to do our thing. All right, so it is 9 o'clock. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna slide out of here. We're gonna be back tomorrow, 7:30 a.m. with the Sunday session. I don't have a show, but that's all right. We're gonna be here anyway. I really need to do some laundry, or you're gonna see me in another of the same shirts. Uh, yeah, I'm really up my skirt about like democracy and the people, because man, when it all goes bad, the people fight, and those are always horrible. And this is a land of guns. We should have long ago put aside some of this stuff and long ago fixed the problems that nobody's fixing, like these border issues, these banking issues, these criminality issues, the wealth, health and welfare, and all these kind of things. People should feel safe with their police departments. But the idea that you can have a bunch of lawyers go and talk people out of doing the right thing, and it is the right thing, um, shows that that can be done in all quarters of the government, in all quarters of the nation, right? In all departments, because the people at the top condone it. So someone at the top is going to have to fix it and take care of the bad guy, whoever the bad guy is. Uh, and we'll see. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we will be back tomorrow. We're here every day, 6:30 to 6:30 Monday through Saturday, and 7:30 a.m. 6:30 p.m. Monday through Saturday, and 7:30 a.m. on Sunday for the Sunday session. Tomorrow is Sunday session, 7:30. That's the next one. I'll see you there. Be easy, William. Thanks for coming through. Uh, and by all means, enjoy the rest of this weekend. Like, get some of it for yourself. Uh, I think I'm gonna actually try and do I even remember how to play a video game on Steam, on Twitch rather? Forza is half price on Steam. I actually may buy that. But the last 15 games I bought on my Steam account, I haven't played because I'm going through some life shit. Which happens, right? I mean, what's the alternative? No life shit, which means you'd have to have no life, and that wouldn't be awesome. Uh, all right, so I will see you in the next one, and the next one is tomorrow at 7:30 a.m. It is 9 p.m. here on the East Coast. I hope that let's close this. I hope that you. Oh, wait a minute. Oh yeah, I might want to plug this in. I hope that you take my word for it and know that there is some grandness out there with your name on it. All you have to do is go get it, and it's probably there you go. It's probably easier than you think it is. Um, how easy? I don't know, but easier than you think it is. But nothing good ever came super easy. But some good stuff do come easy. So let's not be crazy. Everything isn't a bust your ass fight. Some stuff falls into your lap. That's a saying. It falls into your lap. Uh, work on your discipline and your timber and your meter and your good attitude, and keep track of your progress, because you don't want to just have a good attitude and have nothing good going on, right? Keep track of your progress. Know you're slowly getting there. My progress meter is this guitar. I'm slowly getting good at it. Um, while I do other stuff, because that's the measure. If I'm getting good at that when I'm doing stuff, while I'm reading politics or trying to paint, I know I'm getting good at that stuff too, right? It's not that hard. Um, and you have allies. I'm your ally, even though I may not know you personally. So, all right, I will see you in the next one. And like I said, the next one is tomorrow. So let's begin to shut down the shizo. Boink. And I would like to thank everyone who came through. I'd like to thank Meeks for coming through and William for coming through. Uh, and I'd like to thank Sunday Night Smoke for stopping by. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Oh boy, oh, sorry about that. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Uh, you got to be a fan of yours. If you're not a fan of yours first, who will be, right? Uh, you deserve more, and I don't even know what you got. But I'm only talking from a spiritual. and mental spot. So yeah, you deserve more because really like I just spoke about. I really do feel that the whole place has been slowly trying to dumb us down to keep better control of us. Uh, Everything is in conflict, uh, but a lot of things should be discussed and talked about. And if you can't discuss and talk about it in nice words and use dulcet tones, why would anybody want to talk to you? Why would anybody want to hear what you have to say if you are unwilling to hear what others have to say? That's part of the fun of this thing. I love to let stupid people talk because then I go, everybody heard what he just said, right? And then nobody wants to hear that person speak anymore. They done themselves in, right? And even if you are stupid, you won't be much longer if you keep your mouth shut and listen to the people talking in a room. And that's how I've elevated my whole how to argue and who to listen to and that kind of, and it's good, right? Because some people are really good at conveying a message, uh, but they're not always conveying the right message, right? They can convey bad messages. But you should hear people talk and then try and sit down and parse what did he mean by that. And you hear politicians talk so often, you know when they're just talking in words and they aren't saying anything, right? But you also know when they're lying. Uh, so yeah, just try and get a little more, build up an ear to like the environment around you. It's not always politics; it's other things too. Try and build up your ear around you, your that the sense of what you're using. If you're a cook or whatever, try and build up a. I don't know what you try and build up if you were a cook. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, trees and bushes, pen and paper, spoons and forks. I, your boy, your man, your homie, your dog, True S Armor on YouTube, Karma Arma on Twitch, here on this Restreamer Haps. I am True Armor. I'd like to thank you for spending some of your time with me. I know your time is valuable and I appreciate it. I would like to toast to you and send you off on the rest of your weekend with good words and good feelings, good intentions, and a little good luck. I will see you in the next one. The next one's tomorrow, 7:30 a.m. Get some. Take care, everyone. Peace.